Hey guys, what have we got here for you today? Well, we're going to be fixing this shower. This is not an electric shower, it's not a power shower, this is a regular plumbed mains pressure shower. So let's take a closer look at what the problem is. So this is the flow control valve and this is the thermostatic control valve. You can see on here it has some numbers, 25 Celsius all the way around to 45, but the client is complaining that there's limited range on this anymore and it doesn't really go to cool or cold at all anymore. So what you'll find is this is the maximum setting, and if I turn it round it sort of gets to a point and then it just won't budge anymore. So it's seized up somehow. Anyway, we'll give it a quick try just to show you what the problem is, and I'm going to put it down here facing down so I don't get completely soaked like I did before, and we will turn that on, and it's currently on the lower temperature, and I can tell you that it's the lowest it'll go and it feels almost hot. And then we'll turn it to the maximum, and that doesn't really feel much different, to be honest. So let's turn that off. Now there's three possible end solutions to this. One is going to be that we just need to free up the valve. Second is to replace the valve, or it's also known as a cartridge. There's one cartridge in here and one in here, you have to get the right one. Thirdly, we have to replace the entire shower unit, which is mostly hidden behind this wall. So let's start off with the simplest thing at first. We don't want to do any extra work we don't need to. So we're going to remove this dial, and then we're going to have a look behind there and see if we can free it up. So to remove the dial on this one, it's got a little grub screw there. So I'm just going to undo that, 2mm in this case, probably different on your one. And then we just need to undo that little screw there. It's got this plastic cam or whatever it is that comes off, and then we need to, that's the cartridge, we need to spray some limescale remover or vinegar in there and let it sit for a little while. Clean it off, probably use a wire brush or wire wool or something, spray a bit more on and just keep doing that, and then we're going to test it afterwards. So we've got some limescale remover here, just going to spray that in there, let it sit for a little bit. Get all of there, spray a bit more, just keep going at that until you think it's worth giving a go. So we've got some locking pliers on it. I wouldn't recommend anything else, because what you don't want to do is wear off the splines on this, because you'll never get your dial back on. So just make sure it's clamped on there properly tight, and then just keep working it around. And when you feel some resistance, just keep working it, maybe spray a bit more of the limescale remover on there and try and free it up. Now, that's actually solved it. I was kind of hoping to show you the whole process. I've just tested it out. It goes all the way from cold to hot now. So it was just a bit of limescale needed freeing up. So that's good, but I did want to show you the whole thing. Now, obviously, as I said, that's the cartridge. And what it is a 22mm socket on there. So you're going to get yourself a 22mm, this comes as a standard size, box socket, or long reach socket. And then you're just going to undo that with that. Now I'm not going to do that now. I'm going to show you how to take the faceplate off, and then we'll tackle trying to take the cartridge out, just to show you, and then we can put it back in. So this is what is known as a concealed shower, and the reason being is because all the valves and everything is behind this faceplate. You get mixer bars, the ones that are like a bar that run along. They're different and they contain different valves, so don't get mixed up with those. This is a concealed shower. So this whole plate has been siliconed on. It really isn't designed to be taken on and off that easily, obviously to prevent water going in behind the plate. So we're going to be cutting that all away with a Stanley knife. Okay, might have to use a screwdriver, sort sort of prise it away. Try not to bend the plate, that's going to cause you a lot of aggro later on. So we're just going to work that round, just keep working it until we manage to get the plate off. Another little handy tool might be this jab saw. That's quite good at cutting away the silicone. Anyway, I'm going to do that and then we'll be able to pull the plate off. So I'd spray a bit more of the lime scale, remove it in there to get the screw to budge. Just be so careful with these because they're slotted heads and it's just brass, it's pretty soft, that you don't mangle the head. Anyway, it's going to wind that all the way in. So the first thing we're going to do is test to make sure that is completely off. So we're going to turn on the shower and make sure nothing comes out. Nothing. Alright, that's good. So that's completely off. So we need to clean up off all this silicone, so you can use a standard scraper knife, filler knife, or a scraper that has replaceable blades. I'm going to go for this option with the blades because it's sharper, and that's what I've got. If you don't have that, just use a regular filling knife, fine. Right, you can see here we've got a lot of silicone on the back here, and it's not going to be easy to do this with a hand scraper. So what I'd recommend, it's not too bad actually. The alternative is to use a multi-tool with a blunt blade on the end, so we're going to give that a try. I actually found it easier with the scraper. Most important thing is obviously around the edge and then around the dials, get rid of all that. Of course all that rubber was perished, so I took all that off and we can just replace it with silicone and then just give it a final wipe down with a little bit of mess, and then once that's evaporated you can put the silicone on. Okay, so you made sure that those valves on either side are off, and now we've got our 22mm box socket or spanner, whatever you want to call it, backplate spanner, and we're just going to rotate that to the left and we're going to undo the cartridge. It's actually a cartridge, I keep calling it a valve. There's actually a whole cartridge in there. Well, I have to say, it's rare for me to say this, but I've been defeated. That thing is not budging whatsoever. I tried spraying more limescale remover on it, I tried a bigger lever on the end, it just won't budge. Tried hitting the lever with a hammer. Now, as much as I love you guys, I'm not going to be destroying this valve for the sake of a YouTube video, especially when I don't have to. I've already solved the problem, but that's probably what I'd have to do, is get a much bigger lever on the end, maybe wallop it with a hammer. Trouble is I might end up destroying the valve, and I've been there, done that, got the wet t-shirt, and I'm not going to do it for the sake of a YouTube video. It's a client's house, I'm just going to leave it be. That's sometimes the best thing to do, is walk away. Anyway, if you did get it out, what you need to do is take a photo and a few clear photos, take some dimensions of various parts and then send them to, there's a couple of companies, I'll post a link in the description, and they can try and help you identify what part it is, because 9 times out of 10 you have no clue unless you've written it down. I can't see any markings on this shower valve unit to see what make or model it is, so that's what I'd have to do. Now, if you had to go a step further and actually replace the entire valve, which sometimes is actually more economical, because these things can cost anywhere from 60 to £200 just for the cartridge alone, and you can buy a whole unit. There's one just around the corner here I could have picked up for 70 quid. The problem is they're all different sizes and dimensions, distance between the pipes, so then you have to weigh everything up. That's what I have to do in my job, is weigh out what's the most cost efficient thing to do, because if I had to replace this, what they've done, they've tiled after they fitted the valve. Now, I just want to point out, I never fitted any of this, didn't do any of the tiling. But yeah, you'd have to replace all the tiles. That means regrouting, recutting, refitting. You've got to get rid of all the waste. You know, you've got to weigh everything up. So anyway, let's get on to putting this whole thing back together again. First thing you must do, let's open up those valves again, because once you silicone that faceplate on, you ain't going to get to them again. Okay, I'm going to use clear. You could probably use white as well, but just happen to have some handy. And I'm going to put it on here because I want to seal around there, but I don't want to put it on the faceplate because it'll just smear it all over the actual dials. So let's just run it all around there. And then we'll run it on the back of here. And then we'll put the rest on the faceplate. Obviously you're going to run a bead along the edge. You try and do it as close as you can, bit of squidge out, and then we can tool it off to make it nice and neat. Just make sure you've got one continuous bead, especially the most important bits at the top, obviously, with the water can run down. Push it on so it all squidges out. And we've got a bit of a hole there where the tile's chipped off, so we have to fill that with silicone as well. Okay, now we're going to need to get our siliconing tools. So I've got my silicone tools that are actually made of silicone, and then I've chosen whatever size, just choose whatever size you fancy. I've gone for 5mm. I'm just going to wipe that off with a bit of tissue paper, go all the way around and tidy that up. Any silicone you've smeared, just get some methylated spirits and rub it on there, and that will dissolve the silicone. There we have it. So I've put the knobs back on and the dials. Now the screws were knackered, so I'm going to have to get new replacements for them. Slotted, stainless obviously, 50 by M5 machine screws, so we're going to get some of those. But for now I've just put a dab of silicone in there just to stop water getting in through there. So they shouldn't use the shower now for 24 hours, let the silicone dry, and then they can use it as normal, and it all works perfectly now. So anyway guys, I hope that was useful to you. I'm sorry that I didn't get to show you the whole process of taking it all apart, but yeah, just too risky for me right now. Anyway, we will see you on the next one. I'll be making more videos like this. Please like the video and subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Cheers, bye.